is working. I actually need to double check because I had to make some changes to audio. So bear with me. I'm going to pop open a new browser and check my feed here. We'll probably get an echo, but let's see. Let's jump to our channel. And I see, oh, we're live on Twitch. Great. Thank you, Mr. Certainly. That is good to know. Okay, so I'm gonna assume we're actually broadcasting. And if you have anything that you would like to show and or tell, this is the place to do it. Come on by. We have a link up in our Discord. So if you head over to adafruit.it/Discord, you can hop on and you'll see a link there. Also, my 3D printer just stopped, so whew, because that was noisy. I forgot when I got that job started that I was actually going to be in here in my studio doing the show and tell. So I'm also stalling because we don't have anyone lined up in our show. We must have had everyone get all of their showing and telling out of their system last night. So we may just do a short one. As part of my vamping, even though I just did my hour-long workshop show where I showed and told a whole bunch of stuff, I'll keep going because I had one other thing I wanted to show that I didn't get to. So let me do a screen share real quick, and I'll show you something I'm working on. Let's see, is that, yeah, there we go. So this is a PCB I just got in for a MIDI USB to MIDI USB host device. I'm changing the name. I was gonna call it Hostess, then I decided against it, and then my friend Thea Flowers has a USB, a much more well-developed USB project called Hostess. So I'm dropping that name. But this is a After Dark PCB that I got back from Osh Park. I designed it in Eagle. And what it's going to be is essentially two Trinket M0s with their TX and RX lines run together through a resistor. And so this kind of mimics a project that my friend Todd Kurt developed. This is the first one I made of these, which is two Trinkets that just have their ground RX and TX lines together, so you can plug two USB MIDI host devices together. And this actually crops up more than you'd think. There's devices like a iOS device, which wants to be a host, and then I have a Mono Norns, a version of the Mono Norns called a Fates, and the Fates wants also to be a host. So to get them to work together, you need a host-to-host plugin, or pluggable. So this is what this project is going to be. Here's the bare PCB, and I started populating it. You can see I populated one side, so this is pretty much just a relayed out Trinket, and I think I'm seeing signs of power on it, which is good, and I've got some programming headers plugged in so I can try to flash the thing with CircuitPython, which will be my first time doing that, so wish me luck. But anyway, that's going to be a MIDI to MIDI USB host of some kind, and it needs a new name. So if you have name ideas, let me know. Pilot? I don't know. I was kind of going with a Art Deco aeronautical theme. So let me know if you have ideas about that. So that'll be coming. And let's see. We also had a question over in the chat. I can remove this screen now. Let's see. From Mr. Certainly, he said, what do you think of the retro green low-free speaker you have? Oh yeah, sorry, that's in the workshop, so I can't bring it here. But it is a sort of a Bluetooth speaker. It also has an auxiliary in, and it has an FM radio on it. It has a pretty decent sound for the size. It's got kind of a ported back, and it puts out a decent amount of bass. Rechargeable, and I was using it during my workshop show just to plug a small synth into. I like it okay. It's mostly stylish. It's really, really stylish. It has that leather strap, and I got it in that kind of cool green color. I don't even recall what it costs now, so I don't know if it compares well to other things like it, but look up Lofree, Lofree. They make a few kind of cool retro looking devices. They started out with a mechanical keyboard initially, And then they've got a few other devices that are pretty cool, hip looking devices. Fede2 says, very nice retro speaker. Thank you, Fede. And Mr. Certainly says it's around $100 on Amazon. Okay. So I am very excited to say that we have a guest who has shown up in the lobby. You're never going to believe who it is, but it is our very own Todd Kurt. Hey, Todd.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you
I have not much to show. Yeah, I figured I'd try to do something. So I did spend about an hour earlier today. I'm like, oh, maybe I can make something really quick, just to show off for this show and tell. And so it doesn't really work, but here is, see if I can zoom in on it. So this is the little pie ruler from Adafruit, and the thing about it is it's got these little touch buttons here, which is nice. But I wanted to make a little LED sequencer using NeoPixels, and so currently the way it's set up is that these three control, this one, and this one control R, G, and B, and this one just sort of, I think, dims, yeah. And so you can dim it, and then add some red, add some green, add some blue, of course, focusing issues, because I'm on autofocus. But
that's super cool.
But yeah, it's like it highlights one of the reasons why I stopped working on it is it highlights one of the problems with CapSense in a lot of cases is that you can't hold down a button because the charge buildup, or you can't really hold down multiple buttons. So if I don't know if you can see here, but when I press down two buttons, they will go out after a while, and so it's good for like momentary. I mean, you can hold down one button and that works, but if you try to hold down two buttons, it stops working. And so
is it depleted the Todd? Has it removed?
Yes, all of my charge. I can only do one finger of charge. I can't do two fingers of charge.
What if you put on wool socks and rub your feet while you're doing it?
Don't do that. But yeah, so again, this is the nice little pie ruler, and getting all the CircuitPython stuff onto the Trinket nowadays is kind of a pain, especially on a Mac, because Mac likes to create all those extra little files that uses up literally about half the tiny amount of flash space that's on this thing. But with a little bit of trickery, you can do it with the command line. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's how do I get back to me here? There we go. It's fun to use the Pi ruler as an input device because it's got these 4 CapSense pins kind of there waiting for you just to do something with. Great for using it as for like a keyboard, for like a USB keyboard or USB mini device, but I'm having problems using it as like a normal input device the way you use like a tact button or something.
Right. Can you, I wonder, interface-wise, this might be hokey, but could you do tap to start it increasing and tap to stop? Or
totally, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's like once I actually think about the sort of user experience of what it was going to be like, I'm like, all right, I'm done. It makes some pretty lights, and I can show that maybe on a video, but that's all I got.
And so that's interesting. You were saying that you were using the command line to flash it to avoid some of the Mac Finder stuff. Is that?
Well, no. So no matter how you copy files onto the flash drive of a CircuitPython device, the Mac will create these little _, other files that the Finder uses for metadata. You can use the Finder to do this, or command line. It still copies those, or still creates those files, and they take up about half. Like they're almost the same size as these .mpy files on CircuitPython because. The files are so small, and I think the Finder files, the hidden Finder files, are kind of the smallest file you can have on the fat USB partition or something.
Yeah, right. It takes
so yeah. So basically, what you have to do is you have to copy a file, and then you have to remove the / file. Or _ file, and you have to copy another file with the _ file. You can't copy all the files because then you run out of space too fast.
Oh man!
So it might be the right thing to do would be like maybe to make up a tar bundle or a zip bundle that has all the files, and maybe if you unzip it, it won't create those crazy Mac files.
I feel like there was a effort earlier on in CircuitPython that Scott Shawcroft had done to help with some automatic deletion of these files or prevention of these files from going on there.
Well,
I feel like there was something early on about that.
yeah, I'm not sure if that if because like there's actually about three or four different issues. One is that the Mac will create a .trashes folder that anytime
Oh,
you delete something in the Finder, it actually doesn't delete it; it just moves it
right.
from the place where it was to the .trashes folder. So there's a trick to make that not be a thing.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
there's the other thing where the Spotlight indexer will go and index all the files on any device it can see, and so there's a special thing you need to do to make to turn that off,
Mhm.
because otherwise it'll store the Spotlight index on the USB drive of the CircuitPython device.
Right.
And then there's now this other thing of the dot underscore files, and I don't know if anyone's figured out a way to address that. There's supposedly some things you can set on your computer that will make it so it won't copy those or won't create those files, but I've not been able to get that to work.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's one of the things of my homework, because since I'm just such a fan of these really low power Circuit Python devices that don't have the external flash and have all the extra space of like 64 megs.
Right. Yeah. And what are you running into that's large on this one? Because and capacitive touch are kind of the only fancy things going on with that sketch.
Oh, just copying. If you try to copy over the entirety of the Adafruit underscore hid
Oh,
library
yeah, right. Of course.
for like USB
Yeah.
to act like a USB keyboard, you
Yeah.
actually can't copy the whole thing over
Right.
just by doing the thing you would expect to do, just like drag the folder over to the
Mhm.
lib directory. You
Mhm.
can't do that. You have to kind of go in by hand.
Uh,
Like same thing with the new Adafruit LED animation library that I
mhm.
think you're using for your Lucio Blaster stuff soon.
Yeah.
Like that also has enough files that it creates so many extra files that it fills up all the space,
I see. Yeah.
because it's
But the
only like
size of it
64K or
itself is
something.
not the problem. It's it times itself, or it plus all the dot files.
Yeah, yeah. But even then, like people are starting to write better and better Python, like more correct Python, which means like lots of little .python files.
Mm.
And while that's better program structure, it means it uses up more disk space because there's like a minimum file size for all the files, I think.
There's yeah, there's a cost to that
Yeah.
proper coding.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good. Well, thank you. Looks like someone in the YouTube chat mentioned Daniel Yount said use GZCat to read files that are compressed. Something like
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, I can see doing something like that. Yeah, so one of my to-dos is to figure out what's a clever way of putting files on the trinket that makes it so you can do it without all this stupid manipulation.
yeah. Um, I wonder if you could do it through a single board computer, like have your Mac for programming and have a Raspberry Pi for uploading the code to the Circuit Python device. Like
Totally.
put a man in the middle who isn't a Mac.
Oh, but I do have one other small thing to show, um, and that's I don't know who all has seen these. Let's see, is there a better picture? Um, but yeah, there's this new Seed. Seed is a organization, a company, kind of like Adafruit, but they're based in China, and they made the Seeduino Zao. It's a essentially Trinket alike, except that it's got more I/O, and it comes in a little like it's got all the circuitry covered in a metal can, which is nice. And it's got a USB-C connector on it, which some people really like. Now you can this is in like CircuitPython is available for this, and it does work. Uh, Unfortunately, there's a couple things that make it hard to use with CircuitPython. One is that you notice there's no reset button. There are reset pads up here on the top.
You have to
Uh,
short it yourself.
yeah, you have to short it yourself. So it's yeah, can I? So there are these two little pads up there in the corner that are the reset, and so you can reset it that way, but otherwise it's kind of hard. And so it's got a lot of extra I/O, which is great, but it's not as well supported as the Trinket stuff or the Itsy Bitsy stuff, and yeah, so you know maybe it's also cheaper than I think it's like maybe $5, but the lack of the reset button is a real kind of danger.
That's a cool looking little board. I hadn't heard of that at all. Thank you for posting that. I wonder, is that up in the CircuitPython? Did you say CircuitPython's available on it, or
Yeah, yeah. It's a default build. It's on the
Yeah.
CircuitPython.org website.
The Zhao? That's a new one on me. That's cool.
XIAO.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to the USB-C boards.
The Wave. No way, man. USB-A for life.
I'll tell you, USB Mini is still one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All that one, it was actually much more obvious which way was up, even though it wasn't,
totally. Yeah, there's
but at least it was less likely to go in wrong, like a USB micro is.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the Teensies, and this is a Teensy 2.0 that's got the USB Mini on it, and it's like, it frustrates me all the time because it's like one of the only boards I have left in my universe that is still USB Mini. Like, most things are micro now, or maybe USB-C.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a few special, like, I might find a cable for that in a couple of places in my house, but it's not everywhere like micro is. Good. All right. Well, thank you for stopping in for some showing and telling. Cool stuff. And I'll be curious to see what, if any other suggestions come through for dealing with some of those dot files.
Yeah, totally. If we find something, I'm sure I'll blather on about it at some point.
Excellent. Good. All right.
Cool.
Well,
have a good one.
I appreciate it. Thanks. See you, Todd. All right, and that's it. That we don't have anyone else here today for showing and telling. I think I'll cut it there. There's a post from C. Grover in the Discord chat about the Musique Concrète cuckoo clock, which is excellent. I don't know if I have a good way to play it right now. I don't think I'm set up for that here. So I will encourage you to go to the Discord and check that out. And if you also check out the workshop show, there was a version of that video in that as well. So that is it for the show and tell, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.